Hi, welcome to week 4. Before we get into the details of this week's readings and assignments, I wanted to take a little bit of time to take a snapshot of where Alibaba and Tencent are. So you recall that I introduced these two companies early on. In addition, we've discussed two other cases now, Netflix and Zara. But the different thing about Tencent and Alibaba is we're kind of tracking these in real time as I'm preparing these lectures. And I hope that you're watching some IT-based companies as well and tracking those while you're learning it from this class. Because it's really exciting competition out there. And in this particular battle between Tencent and Alibaba, things are continuing to heat up. So I wanted to give you a snapshot of where things are in the news and also leverage this snapshot to provide a quick introduction to some of the topics that we're going to cover this week. So first of all, let's review what these two companies are doing. They're both tech-enabled competitors, and they're huge companies now that impact many lives, and both are based in China but are rapidly expanding. Both of their leaders were relatively young when they started out and got things going. And now Alibaba has changed the way people buy retail, much like Amazon changed the way that we shop. In the meantime, Tencent has changed the way people communicate and exchange gifts with its WeChat app. Both companies are involved in expansions. They're acquiring firms, and they're changing the landscape of retailers who can compete with them. Both leverage technology to deliver the best services that they can to their customers. And now they're both moving into the area of ultimately looking at what solutions they might provide technology-wise for cashless payments. So these cashless payments or ways of paying for these things without actual physical money will be a major disruption, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And with these examples, they're really showing how global business is being altered by advances in technology. And even though they may leverage different or similar technologies, their competitive strategies may be different, their business partners may be different, the way they set in Porter's framework may be completely different, and yet the same technologies are being put to use. So this is the nature of competition that you recall we were discussing. So in this clash of two titans, each have a market capitalization of about $500 billion, and that's actually going up. Now, it turns out recently that Jack Ma of Alibaba will step down from his executive chairman role. Now, the succession is all lined out. That'll happen in 2019. And Tencent's Pony Ma recently announced, and I'm going to quote, "We believe that the first stage of the mobile internet, the consumer internet, is drawing to a close. And the second stage, the industrial internet, is kicking off. With the digitization process ongoing, the main battlefield of the mobile internet has moved from the consumer internet to the industrial internet." So what he's projecting is that with Internet of Things and the wireless interconnection of devices into the platforms that both Tencent and Alibaba are participating in, things will radically change in the near future. Now, Tencent's WeChat has about 1 billion accounts, and it continues to grow. Alibaba, its online marketplace, has about 552 million active customers. Recall that Alibaba's strategy is they're buying controlling stakes in businesses that are a fit with its commerce platform, and they continue to expand along those lines. Tencent's strategy, they take hundreds of minority stakes in an array of different businesses to win over partners and gain access to their technology as they expand their technical capability. So two different approaches going on. Now, about 17 to 21 hours ago, I checked for updates of some of the financials. One thing I noticed was that Facebook and Amazon are getting hit pretty hard in the US stock market in recent months. And of course, Amazon has recently announced two new headquarters locations, one in Long Island and the other in Virginia. What's different here is Tencent and Alibaba are starting to rally. And with Amazon and Facebook both being in similar types of markets, why are Tencent and Alibaba starting to rally? What gives here? Well, Tencent's revenue grew 24% to $11.7 billion in US. Analysts thought it'd be about 6%, and it was 24%. So where's the money coming from? Well, Tencent has a gaming business that's generating 32% of revenues. But that's being slowed down by new game approval regulations that are taking place in China. So gaming revenue's up about 7% annually for them. So that's that 32% contribution is actually on a strong increase. Some of the games you may have heard of: Honor of Kings, PUBG Mobile, and now they're launching 10 new third-party games, which is consistent with their aligning with third-party providers. But they have 15 other games in the approval pipeline, waiting this new China regulation policy to play its role. So that could be a potential limit on its growth, how the regulation might apply to the gaming industry in that country. Now, WeChat members, they grew recently to 1.08 billion, and it has in-app services, or what they call mini programs, and that allows for shopping, ride-hailing, like getting taxis, and also getting deliveries. And there's about 1 million mini programs that reach 20 million daily active users for this company. That's amazing. Social media and other ad revenues rose 21% for Tencent. And they're also in the Tencent video and Tencent music areas doing very well. So almost all of these areas are controlled and being expanded for within their platform. Another area that they're entering and doing well in is cloud services. And we'll talk more this week about what cloud services are all about. But note that Tencent doubled its cloud service revenue in the last year. So on Alibaba, you recall we discussed how they basically created what they call Singles Day, and that has some of the biggest e-commerce days in history. In fact, they hit another record, $30.8 billion. And promotions for this latest Singles Day were all across Asia, the US even, and Australia. Now, I want you to consider the scale of this, $38 billion in a day. That record beat the US online sales on Black Friday and Cyber Monday combined. It's an amazing achievement. Now, Alibaba has also expanded Starbucks delivery to more cities. And the reason many of the analysts believe it's because it's crucial to open up service like online payments, which, as we talked about, is a major potential disruption. They started a VIP program. 88 VIP is the name of it. And for me, that seemed like it's similar to the Prime membership of Amazon. Their improvement of their video content offerings led to a growth of 200% year over year in their daily average subscribers. They also have a cloud business, and they recently launched a data lake analytics application across the globe that's hosted on the Alibaba platform, and it helps companies do their analysis and do all of the things that in data analytics that they couldn't afford to buy the infrastructure for within their company. They can rent this infrastructure through this Alibaba capability through the cloud computing. Now recall, Tencent is entering this cloud computing, so this is getting to be even more heated up as we check in on these two companies. So some important points that I want to bring out. These companies are relying on what you're going to read about this week, and that are network effects. So think of WeChat at Tencent, and also even maybe the Singles Day and how that works with Alibaba. And they have what's called platform business models. Platform is a word you're going to hear more about and read more about because it's kind of unique to technology-based businesses and how they compete. We're also going to learn more about cloud computing services and how those cloud computing services interact with Moore's Law. And you'll understand that Moore's Law has an implication to how advanced computing and how quickly it moves and the pace of change relevant in that area. And given Moore's law, if a company purchased an infrastructure, that infrastructure could be out of date pretty fast because of the rapid changes in technology. So maybe renting through this cloud service is a better model. We're also going to look at this online payment areas as a potential big disruption that's going to hit industry across the world. And we have to figure out who might be the winners and losers in that space. But this is another example of a technology advancement that can change business models and how you compete very rapidly. Another buzzword you might have heard is blockchain. And we'll discuss how blockchain will probably play an important role in this business-to-business payments landscape and how contracts might be implemented between companies using blockchain. Another general area is called fintech, and that fits with some of the Bitcoin currency areas and other disruptions that we'll talk about. So Tencent and Alibaba are big players in the mix, and their strategies and their competition leverages all of the concepts that we're going to be developing this week. So these two live cases that we're tracking as we go will give us a way to think about the chapters and the concepts that we're learning and the frameworks and the ways to approach companies that will extend us beyond the Porter's model in how we think about technology-based competition. Thank you.